Chapter 6, Episode 10. Forbidden Technique Series. The day before Falma left the Holy Kingdom, he remembered and used Wi-Fi to copy and download as much information as possible to his smartphone. There was no change in the radio wave state of Hajime no Gear's Wi-Fi, so I was lucky enough to collect all of them. This time I need to prepare a large storage capacity. From now on, I have a reason to visit the Holy Kingdom regularly for information. Being able to get information Falma couldn't remember, drugs he couldn't remember, gene sequence information, and bioinformatics in the same way he did in his previous life is his greatest strength. Bioscience information becomes a lifeline for new drug development. I was especially diligent in gathering the information I thought was necessary to cure the Empress's melting comb. It's too bad I can't print it out, but I filled up my smartphone memory until it was full. The next day, the Empress's company received a simple farewell ceremony from the mourning Holy Land before her departure. The Empress, who was in the midst of the commotion, seemed unconcerned about the melting marks on her back and participated in the ceremony with dignified poise. He maintained an auspicious attitude toward the Holy Land and worried about the expected confusion due to the absence of the High Priest. Then, Your Majesty the Emperor, I wish you good health. Let us also send an envoy from the Empire. Besides, the treatment of Solomon is at His Majesty's discretion. The newly appointed cardinal priest winked meaningfully at the Empress and said. Hearing this, the Empress made a doubtful face, but she soon realized and burst out laughing. Ha ha ha, so guess. I can receive this person well. I plan to make the priests who broke the commandment atone for their sins, including the fugitive Juliana. Until then, I will entrust them to His Majesty for a while. These people are also prey. The fact that Solomon and Juliana were accompanying her seemed to have been fully discovered. The Empress laughed heartily and gently fanned her face with a folding fan. The priests and holy knights of the Holy Land lined up around the Empress's carriage line. Seen by them, the train carrying the Empress and Falma passed through the gates of the Holy Kingdom. The 5 priests, including Kam, returning to the temple of the Imperial City, are also on their way home with a group of the Empress. It looks like I can finally go home. But there are many problems. There was no big trouble with the priest and they could return home, but Falma was worried about the Empress. If she had not gone to the Holy Land with the Empress, could she have avoided the disaster? Falma doesn't think so. There is no cure for melting crest 100% death upon activation. But as long as it is a contagious disease, I will definitely find a cure. The Kashia Highway. The back road to the Empire was one of the paved roads laid out by the Holy Kingdom and was also the main artery for people and goods connecting the major cities of the surrounding nations. There are many peddlers and civilians on the road, and there are post towns along the highway within several dozen kilometers of the Holy Land. When the king's distinguished guests and high-ranking officials of each country visit the holy nations, they can use the public facilities of the holy nations called guest houses. Falma finished his lunch break with the Empress at the second guest house of the Kingdom of Helvetia, a neighboring Holy Land, and sat down on a bench in the shade of a tree on the river bank. While contemplating this, I was lost in thought to heal the melting circle. Falma-sama, you came here. I brought you something to drink. Juliana brought Falma a cup of warm herbal tea and sat next to him on the bench. Thank you, Juliana. Are you thinking of His Majesty? That's right. Right now I want to think about various things myself. I'm sorry. So, I interrupted you. This is a message from the Chamberlain. After the horses have rested, they will leave in the afternoon. I will come to tell you the time of departure. Thank you. While Falma was sleepily sipping herbal tea, he heard the voices of a skirmish in a corner of the shopping district. A middle-aged male shopkeeper and a girl who seems to be a customer can hear the voices mixed with shouting. I urgently need the divine water and the consecration herb. Sell it. My mother is waiting for it. No. Rumors of evil spirits are doing the rounds and there is a shortage of healing herbs. I can't sell you precious potions for that little money. Please hurry up and go home. Falma's gaze was fixed on an ordinary girl who appeared to be in her early teens, walking aimlessly down the alley of the store while clutching a silver coin in a daze. Immediately after, the thief who had been eyeing her violently grabbed her luggage from behind and pushed the girl away, running off like the wind in a crowd. Falma, who had seen the whole story, drank herbal tea, got up from the bench and approached her, who was slumped exhausted on the roadside. Then he gently looked down and extended a helping hand. "Are you all right?" The girl, seeing Falma's well-groomed appearance, panicked. After being helped, she couldn't even bow, she just shriveled up and stiffened. Falma wiped the mud from her perforated jacket with her hands. The toes of her leather shoes tore, showing her toes. "Oh, thank you so much. It was a disaster. It may be pushy, but can I buy what you wanted to buy earlier? I heard your mother is waiting for medicine. What do you need?" Perhaps because of the warm words, large teardrops ran from the girl's eyes. "Arbor, do you sell it in this store? It's only available in this pharmacy, but I might be turned away again." Along with the nodding girl, Falma shook his head after seeing the trade license at the entrance of the pharmacy, which had been treated coldly earlier. "I shouldn't buy it here. The owner is an ordinary apothecary, but did you say you sell potions?" It seems that he bought the ingredients for the synthesis from the aristocratic apothecary Sama. The girl seemed to have no doubts about the potion and gave a stumbling explanation. "Even if you buy the ingredients, an ordinary apothecary cannot synthesize potions. What you synthesize is a fake." Falma went into the store alone, saw a medicine bottle labeled Arbor, picked it up, and immediately saw that it was a fake. And then he said a word to the shopkeeper, showing his face. "Shopkeeper, don't sell fake medicine under the guise of divine medicine. This store should not be able to synthesize magic medicine. This medicine does not contain any divine power at all. It is a fraudulent medicine. Hey, if you listen to me quietly, you bastard with a fluve accent, get lost." It seems he caught the Empire's accent in Falma's speech, and the shopkeeper cursed him bluntly. "For what reasons do people usually say that potions are fake? How can a kid like you know anything about potions? Surely I don't know about compounding apothecaries in this country." Nuki. Maybe the blood went to his head and the shopkeeper suddenly attacked him. Falma dodged the shopkeeper's attack and froze the surface of the shopkeeper's fist, who wanted to hit Falma with divine arts. "Just a threat, of course, the ice will melt in a few minutes." "You are stuffed. This damn kid is a divine arts user. I'll talk to the Apothecary Guild of the Kingdom of Helvetia later, wait for the punishment of illegal sales later." The owner's mouth opened wide. How can a kid like you get involved in an apothecary guild in another country?" "I'm too late to introduce myself, but I'm Falma de Medicis, the chief apothecary of the Imperial Court of San Fluive." When the shopkeeper heard this, he finally found the gold badge of the court apothecary on Falma's collar and squatted on the floor of the store, asking for forgiveness. Because he finally understood that the business license of this pharmacy is revoked at the discretion of the boy in front of him. Wait. Forgive me, I will do everything I did wrong. I won't sell potions anymore, and I apologize for my rudeness. I can't believe that Falma de Medicis is like this. Didn't you think I was such a brat? Hey. The name of Falma de Medicis, the court apothecary who earned numerous merits in pharmacy, seems to have been well known among pharmacists in other countries. However, even if the shopkeeper knew the name, he did not know that the court pharmacist was a 12-year-old boy who still had an innocence about him. If Falma accused him of selling fraudulent drugs, it would have been no small matter, such as the revocation of his license and the bankruptcy of the ordinary pharmacist. Do not cheat drugs and do not write on people's hearts. Promise here that you will not do it again. Falma looked down at the shopkeeper and sternly ordered him. The girl, who had been watching the proceedings, watched dazedly from a distance the conversation between the shopkeeper and Falma. Falma came out of the store and smiled at the girl. "Let's go. I didn't sell the medicine you thought." "Thank you." "Ah, right. Mother's medicine. But I'll look for it in the next town." Maybe there's a clue to the mystic potion. Thanks. I was almost discouraged. My throat hurts and I thought it would be useless. I need to get home before evening. In search of the potion she would go with her painful limp and hungry. Falma called out to her, who was in a hurry to leave after thanking her. Wait a minute. I don't want to replace you, but I'll synthesize what you want. Huh? Well, but I need potions and I need to find potions that citizens can buy. My mom's waiting. Okay, look at me. Falma held both hands slightly forward, formed an ice glass with one hand, levitated a ball of water in the air with one hand, poured it into the glass and offered it to the girl. Is this a divine art? I'm seeing it for the first time. The girl was completely fascinated by divine arts and her eyes were perfectly round. I've never seen water this clean before. You must be thirsty, you shall quench your thirst. The girl toasted Falma's water and drank 3 cups with her throat clenched. She was happy to say that her skin, which was dry and parched, had somehow been hydrated. It's like I've come back to life that there is such delicious water in this world. That's good. But why would a foreign aristocrat treat a stranger like me? I had all my money stolen. The girl says that this is the first time she has been approached by an aristocrat. Until then, she didn't seem to have a good impression of the nobility. In her homeland, nobles looked down on commoners, used divine arts, and put a heavy burden on commoners. No matter who you are or what country you're in, whether you have money or not, you can't leave someone who needs medicine behind for someone they care about. Because I'm a pharmacist. Falma reassured her with a smile. The mystical drug called arbor that the girl was looking for can be made with a modified version of the divine arts that can be made at the Imperial School of Medicine. It is made by boiling several raw drugs, including willow extract obtained through divine arts with water made through divine arts. If Falma tells me to synthesize it, I can synthesize it in 30 minutes. But I could have prescribed a modern drug that was more effective than arbor's fever-reducing analgesic. Only when I see the patient can I know if arbor is the best prescription for the patient or if modern medicine is better. By the way, where is the person who needs it? I can prepare medicine here and give it to you, but I want to examine the patient and decide if the medicine is really necessary. My mother is sick with fever in the village, waiting with my brother for me to return. Where are you going? When I asked about the girl's hometown, it seemed to be a village on the highway, and it seemed that Falma and the others were returning the same way. If the course is the same, the story will be quick. Falma spoke with the servants of the de Medici's family and let the girl ride in the last car of the wagon train. She had a sumptuous meal, but she touched it very little. Didn't you like it? Do you feel unwell? When Falma asked the girl, she confessed shyly. Can I bring this dish back? I want to feed my mother and brother pure white bread and tender meat. Then you should bring home new bread. You should also bake new bread. Falma also told the empress what had happened, and with the promise of only 2 hours, he asked permission to examine his mother and prepare medicine. The empress understood her situation. She was willing to change the emperor's itinerary for the sake of a simple girl. And the empress cares for her mother. Is it a prospect that I can take this medicine only once? I haven't seen the patient yet, but it depends on the condition. If you need medicine all the time, you have no choice but to send it to her village by imperial mail. Falma thought that since he was with her, he would take responsibility for his mother's treatment to the end. When the empress heard this, she pouted. Isn't there a good pharmacy and drug store around here? Any stores that sell modern or traditional medicine? In the Kingdom of Helvetia, there are no stores that sell modern medicine. What are you doing, Falma? Are you in another country? I will send a letter to the Holy Land asking for the opening of pharmacies along the highway, not just Helvetia. In this way, it was very easy to decide to open a foreign pharmacy along the highway. Ellen, who with Beatrice had set up a cordon around the de Medici family mansion, forgot to eat and sleep and stayed by Lot's side. At the moment, Lot can only breathe a few times a minute. To prevent dehydration, since we are unable to rehydrate orally for more than a day, we are slowly administering saline and glucose transfusions as appropriate. Since his heart rate had plummeted, he was given atropine, which temporarily improved his pulse and blood pressure, but his condition soon returned to normal. When do you take your last breath? With such a sense of danger, Ellen can't take her eyes off Lot for a moment. A simple blood test with a blood sample from Lot and a blood sample from a Lot under the microscope show no abnormalities. However, when I reacted with traditional divine magic reagents in Lot's blood, there was a strong reaction that could be called the worst. Ellen could only conclude that it was possessed by evil spirits. It's not just a vagus reflex. The evil spirit may have carried a curse in its blood all over its body. How dare you think about that? Ellen's experience as a top-notch pharmacist sounds the alarm and the worst predictions haunt her. I have had several instances in the past where evil spirits have taken my pulse. Even if it is antagonized by atropine, I don't know how long it will last. While remembering them one by one, she faced the seriousness of the fact that there was still a world where the medicine and pharmacy that Falma brought to this world were not effective. It's like going back to the old days when evil spirits were blamed for everything. Nevertheless, Ellen could not afford to lose Lot. Lot was an old acquaintance for her and at the same time an important person with whom she spent a lot of time. It's getting night. What should I do? When she touched Lot's wrist, she almost cried. It was the first time in a long time that my heart was disturbed by the arrival of night. I was reminded that the impact of the theft of the treasure in the imperial capital temple was so great. Eleanor, how is Charlotte? It seems that the destruction of the evil spirits in the imperial capital has come to an end and the drenched Pal has returned while wiping his head with a towel. By the way, Pal is not wearing Blanche's wig these days because her silver hair has grown beautifully. Ellen-sensei. Lot, can you help me? Blanche followed Lot's room into the room with a worried look on her face. This is not a good sign. After that, I tried several anti-curse potions but none of them worked. Ellen obediently admitted her lack of competence and apologized. No? Have you given up? Tears welled up in Blanche's eyes. I'm not giving up. Well, I thought you were. After all, you're an asshole. Ellen didn't have the energy to fight back against Pale's provocation as usual. Having been shown the difference in divine arts mastery by Nova Root's innovative divine arts, Ellen was demoralized. Pal snorted, perhaps feeling that Ellen was not bothering him. Huh? Why don't you say it back? I'm not going to say it back. Unfortunately, evil spirits continue to appear. It's impossible to defeat them one by one. It seems that the citizens of the Imperial City have also completed their evacuation to evacuation shelters under the guidance of the military police. The Bonnefoy family is also a designated evacuation center, but since there are 2 levels of magic circles outside, they should be safe. Oh, good. I was wondering, thanks for telling me. Are you the one who set up the barrier of the de Medici's family? Me and your mother. Thank you for protecting the de Medici's family mansion. Thunder rumbled and heavy rain began to beat against the windows. When I looked out the window, the entire imperial capital was covered with thick black clouds. The demon outbreak is still going on, and with this weather, the situation will only get worse. I must save Lot Chan before the darkness deepens. I've tried all the divine arts I know, but they haven't worked against this evil spirit. Is there anything else I can do? Really? No. There is. Something I never thought of. She stared. Forbidden series. Ellen trembles and speaks forbidden words. There is a forbidden pharmacy that is especially effective against evil spirits. However, if the forbidden technique fails, the life of the user and the recipient of the medicine is at stake, so it is strictly kept in an invisible place so that no one can mix it. Its storage location is, yes, San Fluive Imperial College of Medicine. I'm going to college. Pal-kun, look at Lot Chan. I know where the bookshelf is. Ellen puts on her coat and hurries out of the room. When grabbed by Pal's physical strength, it doesn't move. Wait, Tilda, you're an idiot to go out alone into a storm of evil spirits, Tilda. Do you want to die, Tilda? But the only way to save La Chan is to try a forbidden technique. Wait, then it's in my house. Pal left the room with a slapstick, as if remembering something. After hearing intermittent explosions from the Medici family basement for a while, he returned with a black leather-covered locked book. A large number of servants chased after Pal. Pal-sama, you shouldn't do such a thing. Please return my husband's books to the forbidden library. I am being insulted by my husband. Rumble. Pal hustles the servants out of the room, locks the guest room where Lot is, and happily tells Ellen with a book. Eleanor, look, this is a forbidden book. Didn't you just blow up and rob your master's forbidden library? Ellen didn't believe the forbidden book was in the Medici's family, and her reaction was delayed, but when Bruno finds out, she and Pal have no choice but to apologize. Do you have the formula for Batterasaur? Ellen destroyed the key with divine arts and asked Pal, who forcibly turned the page. What's that? I've never heard of that before. Was it about the red elixir? Pal found an entry called Batterasaur in the list of banned books. Turning the corresponding page, several pages are completely blank. It's a blank page. Why isn't it written, just this item? Borrow it and read it like this. Ellen created ice with her wand, held it in her hand and slowly traced the page. Then suddenly letters appear on the part touched by the divine artificial ice. It appears when you touch the divine arts ice. There are letters that appear when you burn them with the fire of divine arts. In both cases, if you are inexperienced in divine arts, you will not be able to read them, or you will ruin the book. As you would expect from a forbidden book on elixir synthesis. I folded my arms as if Pal was impressed. Medicines produced by pharmaceutical theology include supreme medicines, noble medicines, special medicines, miracle medicines, miraculous medicines, and divine medicines. Ellen can synthesize special medicines only with the best divine arts. Among the apothecaries whose patron deities are medicine gods, only first-class apothecaries can synthesize medicines with even greater efficacy. The elixir called Batterasaur is said to have the effect of bringing back people who have been afflicted by life and death. However, Bruno claimed that there is currently not a single person who can synthesize this. Ellen will testify to the meaning of these words. Dejectedly, she read, "You can't synthesize it unless you are a young female pharmacist who has a medicine god as a patron god. There are only 2 female apothecaries in the world who have a medicine god as a patron deity, and Françoise, the court apothecary of the Saint Fleuve Empire, is one of them. But not young. There is no such apothecary in the empire," she says. "But my patron deity is the medicine god, and you are a young apothecary. If you are a young apothecary, the patron deity of medicine, then you are here." Pal pointed alternately at Ellen and himself. "I wonder if you and I have met the conditions together. Do you want to talk about your youth? I don't mean that. It's too much to say. But let's do it. Have you read the whole text?" "I just read it. There are no further checks between each other. You can also test your opponent's readiness." Pal reaches for the ice and once again traces the last line of the forbidden book. The red letters that appeared there. Failure to synthesize the elixir will result in escape death for the caster, and even if successful, half of the remaining life of the caster will be compensated. It is strictly forbidden to synthesize from people who do not have the appropriate qualifications. That was the description.